What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day like always. I'm going to talk about a few stories from the last week which highlight how creepy political correctness is getting. And I'm going to give credit where it's due for when it's done well, but it's just getting bizarre and creepy, and now it's actually affecting people's livelihood and jobs and careers. And I don't like to do that. I'm a real feminist. I'm a real social justice warrior. I'm a real liberal. I'm a real activist. And I got to call it like I see it. It's just getting creepy and out of control. So let's wait about 20, 30 more seconds for people to get into the live stream. What's up, Josh? What's up, Rena? Thank you guys so much for joining as always. My new website is available, worldcloudnetwork.com. As always, Dream Rare on Instagram, dreamrare.com for shirts and hats, legendary.vision for contact, for booking, and I don't know, just to say hi if you want to, that's fine too. Let's wait about 20 more seconds. Greg, Carlos, what's going on? Thank you guys for joining. Brian, thank you guys for coming in. Paula, how are you? Mackenzie, thank you so much. Okay, so now that we're filling up, I just want to do a spoiler alert or a disclaimer or whatever before we start, because I get misconstrued. Like the modern, I don't know, like media or whatever, like whatever's publicly acceptable is so bizarre that just like telling a simple truth and being kind and respectful freaks people out. So I'm just going to give a disclaimer. I believe in real liberal values. I'm not a super conservative person. No disrespect if you are. A lot of people who watch and support are. It's just not who I am. I'm very peace, love, and positivity. I'm very hippie at heart. I'm pro-LGBT. I don't care if you're a transgender. I don't care if you're lesbian. I don't care what religion you practice. I'm not going to hold anything against you. I care about good people, good hearts, good souls. I'm a real liberal. And I say that not to be mean, not to point fingers, not to like drag anybody down and push this extremist right-wing agenda that's going to destroy the world. Like, I guess that's what the news pitches it as. I have no idea, because I can't be more honest. I can't be more clear. I can't possibly be more nice about a lot of the videos I do, and still people freak out at me. Republicans get mad at me when I say that they can do a little better sometimes. Democrats get mad at me for just stating a simple truth. But I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not hateful. I know the good things that come out of this. But political correctness and the alt-left extremist leftist agenda is getting really, really creepy. And I'm just curious at what point other liberals, other progressives, other Democrats, and other people across the political spectrum are going to wake up and be like, hey, you know what? It's getting a little counterproductive, to say the least. And that's why I say this. I don't say it to drag down social justice. I say it because social activism has been hijacked. Feminism has been hijacked. The Democratic Party has been hijacked. The Republican Party was hijacked, and then it got re-hijacked by someone else who's doing a better job. So I'm just calling it like I see it. I've always leaned left, but the modern day left, I could see why a lot of totalitarianism and National Socialism movements were extremist lefts. I see the writing on the wall. It's like if they can brainwash people into doing things, thinking that they're doing social justice, they can do anything. So the first story that just creeped me out, and I thought it was almost a joke, but it really isn't. It really happened. Is the F1 girls, who, if you guys are familiar with like fast-paced car racing, they're girls. They dress up nice. They don't even dress that sexual, to be honest. Like girls at clubs dress way more sexual. I'm not even talking about workers at clubs. I'm talking about girls who just go down at the club at a Thursday night. They dress more sexual than these girls do. But they hold up flags. They hold up signs. They work with the racers. And they're just beautiful women who, enjoy their careers of holding signs and, being part of the show in whatever way, shape, or form. So the feminists, the male feminists especially, the female feminists, I hate everybody in the world, and I have 15 cats, and I hate men, and I hate everybody else who doesn't, think like me. They made it so that the F1, they put enough pressure, they decided to end the girls, the F1 girls. It's been eradicated from the F1 program. And guess who got upset? Guess who is the most upset? Spoiler alert, just like every single social activism that happens, it was the women who worked the jobs. They were pissed because they just lost the job that they liked. They're like, I liked that job. I got to stand there. I got to hold a sign. I got to smile. I got to have fun and be at a sporting event and network with a lot of people. They're all pissed. All of the F1 girls, they're not imprisoned and they're not like made to do that. They did it because they enjoyed it, because it's fun. I mean, I might take a job with no shirt on or something to stand around a bunch of girls. Sounds like a great time, to be honest. If someone offers me, $50 an hour, I might do it. And if I don't want to do it, I don't do it. I don't care how people, like, what they want to do themselves. But this, like, weirdo, extremist, social justice, activist, feminist, extremist, leftist movement, which the reason I call it out so much is because it's, like, mainstream now. It's not like a fringe group like white people need to rule the whole land. Like, that's a very, small fringe extremist group that I don't approve of. But it's like the extreme left. They own Twitter. They run Facebook. They run Google. They're tearing down everyone's jobs. So it's like, keep to yourself. And, if you want to do real activism, grid girls, someone said, yeah, F1 grid girls, they're all furious. So they lost their jobs because of fake feminists and fake social justice warriors. Now, feminists and fake social justice warriors, they do the opposite of what they say they're going to do. They want a bunch of women's jobs, but they attack women who do a job that they do. And then they walk around the streets with no shirt on, and these women are fully clothed and then making like $40 an hour, and they ruin their job. And this type of stuff is just becoming more and more and more common. And to be honest, once again, spoiler alert, I know nobody wants to hear it. Everyone gets so mad at me. Oh, anomaly, God forbid you tell the truth while I just walk in circles all day and just make stuff up. This is why Trump won, because people are sick and tired of this stuff. And even I'm sick and tired of this stuff. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care if you're a man. I don't care if you're a woman. I don't care if you think there's 100 genders. I don't care if you have 7 wives and you let your girlfriend have sex with someone else because CNN told you that's, in style, or you think it's like a kink or a fantasy or whatever. I'm cool with that. I'm not someone who judges you and says, oh, you're going to be punished. Like, I don't care. I'm the most liberal-minded, true social justice activist on the planet. I literally don't care. In fact, go ahead. Shoot for the stars. Do you. But there's nothing about the modern day media and the modern day social justice movement that is liberal. It's like the opposite. They're like on a mission to just destroy everything. And you're not talking to someone who's trying to limit people's rights. Just leave us alone. That's all I'm saying, is leave everyone else alone. Just because you don't want to be a grid girl doesn't mean they don't want to be a grid girl. I mean, just because I don't think there's 10,000 genders doesn't mean you have to make it the law of the land. And, another weird clip I saw was Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada. He interrupted a woman to, correct her. He, mansplained to her. She's talking. She's like, I'm just trying to do good for mankind. And he's like, Becky, it's people kind now. We're going to use person kind or people kind. And I'm like, what? These people are just such weirdos. Like, oh, wow. What a good activism movement. You really saved millions of women. They just broke out of their shackles because you changed the word mankind to womankind. It's just so dumb. And it's so counterproductive to the point where if you speak a simple truth, you get attacked from all these fake feminists. And I'm trying to be the waker-upper of the Democratic Party and the Progressive Party, because even some of the most woke progressives, they play that same everything outside of my little bubble is racist, sexist, and xenophobic. And trust me, I'm in the small percentage of people that conservatives and Republicans listen to, and there are, many really good conservative analysts nowadays, but I'm in the small percentage that I actually disagree with, conservatives a lot, and they yell at me. I'm like, I don't mind Jay-Z's music, and they're like, you're demonic, blah, 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 whatever. I'm not this poster child for the Republican Party. I'm just not. I'm not personally right-wing. I'm not conservative. I just don't. That's not how I define myself. No disrespect if you do, but I get written out to be this monster just for trying to tell the Democratic Party and progressives, hey, you guys have no platform, and they know they have no platform. I've talked to thousands of people, thousands, and no one knows why they like them. They just don't like Trump, and I get it, but at the same time, I get all yelled at for trying to tell you the truth, and this goes further than just the F1 girls and the Justin Trudeau using man and womankind. They did it to a little kid. He had the shirt on, and I didn't even weigh into this because I'm not trying to get in arguments with people who care too much, but he had a little kid shirt on that said, coolest monkey in the jungle. I can see that how that could be offensive to some. Personally, I look like a monkey sometimes, especially when I cut my hair, I got long ears, and people used to comment all the time, Anomaly, you look like Drake, or you look like a monkey. whatever. I'm just not that salty about it. It's like, okay, I'm probably am a monkey. I like bananas, you know, I'm a full-on ape. Like, whatever, I don't care. But they yelled at this kid. They made it this big thing. They're like, he's not a monkey, he's a king. And the mom came out, she was from Sweden, and she was just like, I don't think like you. She was like, my family, my son, doesn't care because we don't think like that. So, you know, the racial hero activists actually cost that kid a job and cost that kid royalties and revenues. The modern day social justice movement is literally sabotaging their own people that they're claiming to help and just ruining their job. I mean, it makes no sense to me. But to dive deeper, this is going into the Trump administration. Do I think Trump could speak better? 1,000%. I say it all the time. Do I think his campaign rhetoric could have been a little less negative and a little less biased in ways? Absolutely. There's a bunch of things that I personally would never say that Trump would say. I'm not saying I'm a better person. You know, I love and respect the president. You know, I'm not a hater. I'm not a low energy crab. But I see why people would be mad. But here's the difference. Just because I don't like him doesn't mean I make up this whole other scenario that doesn't exist. And that's what the fake feminists and the fake justice warriors do with everything. And that's why we are where we are. It's like I say a basic truth and you're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic. No, I'm sorry. It's not my fault. The media is lying about everything. They're lying about the travel ban. They're lying about immigration. Every Latino in America, there's millions of people. They're not all illegals. There's other countries, even Mexico. They have way stricter policies than we do and everyone else. I'm not saying to not have a discussion. Keep them, don't keep them, do this, do that, build the wall, don't build the wall. I don't care. I'm all for discussion. Personally, I don't really care that much about these policies, but the way that people think that, oh, this is the way it has to be, and everyone outside of my bubble is racist. And then you go in their bubble and it makes no sense. They're just like, no genders, and womankind, and mankind, and F1 girls can't have a job, and little black kids aren't allowed to be models anymore because I'm offended. And it's like, at what point do you guys stop? It makes no sense. And it's getting out of control. And I'm sorry, I could be meaner about it. And I know there's a lot of people that are right-wing that are mean about it. And guess what? I don't tolerate the meanness. I don't tolerate the hate. I don't tolerate real racism. I have to block people for saying borderline, real, terrible, racist things. Sometimes I know they exist. Trust me, I honestly, I have to block probably more people on the right than the left, if you believe it or not, because most of the people on the left, they probably don't comment that much. They just hover and like think things to themselves. But I block a lot of right-wing people too. I don't discriminate. I don't hate. You know, an ignorant, negative, nasty person is an ignorant, negative, nasty person. But for some reason, the left, the social justice warriors, the extremist left, they're on this weird path to like ruin everybody's career, ruin everybody's job, ruin everybody's lives. Like, you can't do that, you can't do this. But they're the biggest hypocrites because they're the ones marching around the streets at the slut walk. And they're the ones, you know, posting naked pics and doing all this stuff. Which, trust me, I could care less about. I'm not hating or judging. Like, I'm the opposite. Do what you want. You know, have fun. Just be a nice person. But I'm saying it doesn't make sense to champion this huge right that you don't even do yourself. Like, you're the exact, you know, hypocrite epitome of, like, the thing you're trying to stop. It just doesn't make any sense. And now they're taking jobs away from good women. And they take good jobs away from good men. You know, James Damore is suing Google because Google is not only, you know, racist, religious, religiousist or whatever you say, but also politically. It's like they don't want people that aren't ultra liberal. So it's not even like you're conservative, I'm liberal, you're conservative. It's like, I'm extremist liberal who wants to take away jobs from everybody and ruin everyone's life because they don't want there to be 10,000 genders. And if you disagree with me or you even question me or you try to exist being a white male working for Google, then you're bad because, you know, everything that happened in the past, except not everything, just like a small part of the past, we're going to hone in on it and we're going to blame you and your family, even though you probably came from Europe. Like I always say all the time, my grandparents came from Puerto Rico, Italy, and Poland. You know, they didn't sail over on the Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. I'm not relatives of Christopher Columbus, nor the white British people who, you know, pillaged the whole country. I'm sorry. That's just not in my blood. We came as immigrants. My parents worked in factories, or my grandparents worked in factories. My parents worked hard labor jobs. And here I am living the American dream because I, you know, worked hard and spent 10 years of my life working, 60-hour weeks for 8 years of my life and not taking any vacation. So it's like, I'm not to blame for all of this stuff, and neither is anyone else. Race, religion, and gender, I disavow it from all sides. But a clear-cut thing to me is that the modern-day feminists and the modern-day social justice activists are so loopy that they're like ruining their own people's jobs. And at that point, it's just like, all right, you do your thing. You can shave your hair. You can scream in the streets wearing pink hats. You can not do any of that. You can function and work a 6-figure job. You can do that. You can be a housewife. You could be a mother. You could be a CEO. I don't care what you are, but don't start imposing your weirdo will onto everybody else. I mean, if someone wants to be a F1 girl, let her be an F1 girl. If a woman wants to say the word mankind that we've used our entire life, just say mankind. Who cares? It shows more weakness when you get upset by that stuff. You think you're being strong, but you really sound weak. It doesn't sound like strength to me. It's like weakness in disguise of strength. Like, someone could say I look like a monkey. People have said it 20 plus times in the comment section. The only way I'd get mad is if I thought I was an actual monkey, but I know I'm not. But I also know I am. I probably am part monkey or most monkey. Who cares? Like, someone could say, oh, you're part Puerto Rican or you're part Polish. Polish, you're not even a human being because you have Puerto Rican blood in you. And it's like, okay, like if they say it to my face or my family in like a threatening way, I mean, that's one thing. But like, if it's just someone's comment, like, it's weak to be like, oh yeah, well, I'm gonna, it's like, okay, like, you're showing your weakness. It's like, do you believe them or do you not believe them? Because if someone says something, your reaction shows the true story. It's not just what they said. I mean, people have been saying dumb things for 100 years. And I'm not saying it's good. I think we should crack down on the negativity and the hate, but it's like this pseudo-intellectual, pseudo-positive, I'm really trying to help people, but in actuality, they're stealing women's jobs, stealing little kids' modeling jobs, stealing people's platforms, just like ruining the conversation. And on that note, I do want to say the one thing that I did hear this week that actually was kind of concerning was it Quentin Tarantino? I got to give credit where it's due to the MeToo movement. I'm very critical because I think for a large part it's kind of just funneling people to the Democratic Party in a weird way and just, overreaching, to say the least. But Quentin Tarantino made a comment about Roman Polanski, like, having sex with, like, a 13-year-old and, like, doing drugs and drinking with her. And what's his name? Quentin Tarantino was like, oh, it's not rape because, like, she wanted it. Those are just party girls. And he's talking about, like, a 14-year-old or a 13-year-old. To me, there you go. That's something worth looking at. That's like a Me Too where it's like, okay, let's actually review that. That's pretty weird, like, to be like, oh, she's asking for it and she's like 14 years old doing drugs. That's a good one. I'm not a hater. I'm not a weirdo. Just say, like, there's ones that definitely need attention. I know guys are weirdos. I deal with them all the time. That's why, I keep my circle small, because men are weirdos. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with the feminists there, but there's like a certain extent, if you just like make everything a problem, then nothing's a problem. If everything's racist and disagreeing with your immigration policy is racist and trying to protect the country from like terrorists who are chopping off people's heads and throwing acid in people's face, that's racist, then nothing's racist. Then actual racism goes unnoticed because you ruined everything. And if you think it's sexist for a woman to work a job, I mean, these F1 girls didn't even dress up that provocative. And even if they did, who cares? There's bars in West Hollywood where, guys wear no shirt, and that's their choice. No one forces them to do that. They want to be a provocative guy and get tip money. An F1 girl does that. I mean, women go to the club and dress like that, and they don't even make money. They just go there for fun. So it's like, who cares? That's liberalism to me. That's what true liberalism is. That's what true social justice advocate is. Do you, and don't, bother anyone else. But now it's like, who are they going to come for next? It's like they don't want women. To me, it seems like they don't want women to succeed. They don't want men to succeed. They don't want women to have kids. They don't like. It really is playing out like this weird Marxist agenda. And people say it's a big conspiracy, but just like look at how people are acting. It's so bad that I say a blatant truth like this, and then someone will be like, "Oh, you're really, really right wing now." It's like, no, I care about peace, love, equality, all the things you claim to care about. I just want to draw the line before we, I don't know, tear down the whole society and like blame everything on a certain religion or race. And it goes both ways. So it's like, you don't make up ground by like ruining people's lives. It's far past the point of making no sense. Luckily, I don't live in Canada. I'm sorry if you do. You know, I don't know what the Prime Minister's doing. He's creeping me out. And if you think that's great, you know, that's cool too. A lot of people I know said they were going to move to Canada if Trump won. And I was kind of looking forward to it, to be honest, because it's like, I like people whose actions match their words. It's like, okay, if I didn't want Hillary to win and I said I was going to move to Canada, maybe I really would. So it's like, you know, maybe we should move and dabble around and do what we said we were going to do. So once again, I'm going to go have fun or whatever, but I just wanted to say and open the dialogue, make another pitch. I know I get, it's mostly love, but I get a lot of backlash by people who are left-leaning. They're like, oh, you're so terrible. Like, I don't know what part of this conversation, especially after the huge intro, that people got the wrong idea. Like, I'm literally pro all of these rights you say. I'm anti people who are disrespectful about it. I'm anti right-wing extremists who like don't let people live and be themselves. But I draw the line at stealing somebody's job or making everything a huge hoopla and a huge fuss and blaming everything. It's every white man's fault and it's my fault because I'm a white woman and I have $10 million. It's like, okay, if you come from a rich family and you want to wear a pink hat and march and act like you're oppressed, that's fine. You have every right to do that. But don't blame all white people. It's like not every white person's as rich as you. In fact, there's millions of people just scraping by. Like, I mean, it seems to be a weird trend to me. It's like people feel guilty and then want to drag an entire race or religion down because they feel guilty. I mean, if your family did all of these oppressions, then feel free to make it better. I mean, it's all good. It's just, at what point, you know, does real love, real peace, real positivity, real unity, and real common sense come back into play? I don't agree with what they did to the F1 girls. I don't know like what's going to go on next, like who's going to lose their jobs. They're on an all-out path. It has nothing to do with Republican and Democrat. The social justice warriors and the media who are complacent, they're on an all-out path to ruin everything. They don't want relationships to exist. They don't want men and women to like each other. They don't want women to have jobs. They don't want, you know, little kids of color to have careers. It's like, what next? I mean, what part of what they're doing is not racist? And then you say, hey, what do you think about, like, this policy? And people are like, it's racist, and we got to stop the whole agenda because it's all racist. And you're like, why is it racist? And 10 out of 10 people say, I don't know. It's like, I heard that on TV. I don't know. That's just where I'm at. I don't understand what's going on. I'm trying to wake up my fellow liberal brothers and sisters, my fellow social justice warriors. If you want to help people, just help people. You don't do it by dragging other people down. You don't help women by dragging women down. You don't help a woman by taking her money and her career away. Literally, all the F1 grid girls are pissed off at the feminists. They don't like you. Every woman I know that's like a real successful, smart, or happy woman, they don't like feminists. It's not a woman thing. It's an extremist left-wing agenda that they're disguising and shrouding in liberalism. And guess what? That's why the right is succeeding. You want to not listen to me, and everyone wants to blame Anomaly. Oh, Anomaly is complacent. He's blah, blah, blah. No, I'm telling you why Trump won. I'm trying to help you win. But instead of like embracing authentic people and embracing real social justice warriors and embracing true liberals, they just keep attacking people. You're racist, you're sexist, you're xenophobic, you're Russian, you're a deplorable, you're a terrible person. I'm the best person because I have no idea what I'm doing anymore, and I'm on a path to just tear everything down. No, I'm sorry, it just doesn't make any sense. God bless you, God bless the world, every race, religion, every 10 million of the genders, Justin Trudeau, womankind, mankind, peoplekind. Personally, I don't care. Say what you want, do what you want. You're not offending me. I'm not outraged. I'm not like, oh my God, this is terrible. I don't really care. I'm just curious, and I'm asking you. You could tell me in the comment section, like, at what point do these people stop? To me, it doesn't seem like activism anymore. It seems like a path to just ruin everybody's life who's happy and has found, you know, their little niche in this weird, crazy society that we've all been kind of placed in. Thank you guys for listening. Have a good week. I'm going to post my links below.